This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important updates to share with you. President Biden touting zero inflation going on right now. I'll play you the video clip of what he says. Gas prices have fallen below $4 a gallon throughout the U.S. When it comes to Social Security, some good news there. New estimates of the new increased payout for Social Security recipients. And when it comes to the Inflation Reduction Act, not all Republicans are on board with that, saying that there's too much money going to the IRS. I'll play you a video clip of what a Republican senator says there. I'll also let you know of the exact date for the September $300 stimulus checks that are going out, and I'll give you some other more important updates as well. Hope you're having a terrific Thursday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So Republicans are outraged at Joe Biden for accurately describing the economy. What are they referring to? Well, President Biden touts 0% inflation. So yeah, I guess some critics are having a hard time with the idea of a 0% inflation because of the inflation report that just came out. But it actually is 0% according to the study. Take a look at what President Biden has to say about that, 0%.
Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July. 0%. Here's what that means. While the price of some things went up last month, the price of other things went down by the same amount. The result, zero inflation last month, but people are still hurting, but zero inflation last month. Economists look at a measure of inflation that ignores food and energy prices, and they call it core inflation. That's about the lowest amount in several months. When you couple that with last week's booming jobs report of 528,000 jobs created last month and 3.5% unemployment, it underscores the kind of economy we've been building. We're seeing a stronger labor market where jobs are booming and Americans are working, and we're seeing some signs that inflation may be beginning to moderate. That's what happens when you build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out. The wealthy do very well and everyone has a chance. It gives everyone a chance to make progress. Now I want to be clear. With the global challenges we face, from the war in Europe to disruption of supply chains and pandemic shutdowns in Asia, we could face additional headwinds in the months ahead. Our work is far from over, but two things should be clear. First, the economic plan is working, and second is building an economy that will reward work. Wages are up this month, provide opportunity, help the middle class, and still have work to do, but we're on track. The second point I want to make is we need to pass the Inflation Reduction Act right away. That's the most consequential thing that Congress can do to keep our progress on inflation from getting better, from getting worse, keep it moving in the right direction. And it will bring down the cost of prescription drugs, health insurance premiums, and energy costs. It's going to make big corporations just pay their fair share, nothing more than their fair share. It's going to reduce the deficit without raising a penny in taxes on people making under $400,000 a year. But it's far from done in our effort to bring inflation down, but we're moving in the right direction. So some good economic news today and some work ahead.
What are your thoughts on that 0% inflation for the month? Meaning that just for the month of July, it did not go up, it did not go down, 0%. Which I guess sort of makes sense, but over the year it's still a little on the higher side, 8.6%. So also, Democrat Congressman says monthly inflation is zero, claims U.S. not in a recession. So now that there's a lot of green, the stock market was rallying, inflation report came out good, looks like people are saying that we're not in a recession anymore, although I don't know if that's the case. This, what they said here, this morning, we just found out that inflation last month was 0%. That was the inflation from June to July. We've come a long way adapting to the supply chain disruptions of COVID and the Russian-Ukraine war, adapting as quickly as possible, and I was thrilled to see that Gas Buddy yesterday said that the average price of gasoline in America was under $4 a gallon. So definitely some good news coming out this week. Speaking of the gas prices in U.S. fall below $4 per gallon and on average for the first time since March. So if you're in places like California, yeah, it's probably going to be on the higher side, but yeah, it says that the national average for regular gasoline dipped below $4 a gallon according to AAA. which is the first time since March 5th. So that's great. Gas prices down. I guess that's good for everybody, because then a lot of the other goods are like, grocery foods and other costs and goods are gonna, the price is gonna go down as well. Some other good news here too: retirees on Social Security could see monthly benefit rise an average of $159 in 2023 due to inflation estimate finds. So after this inflation report came out, a lot of other good and other news in general have been coming out as well. So high inflation points to a possible 9.6% Social Security cost of living adjustment, also known as the COLA, in 2023, according to a new estimate based on the released Wednesday data. There are still a couple of months to go before Social Security Administration announces how much to expect. So yeah, basically, Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan senior group, now estimates Social Security benefits may rise 9.6%. Is 9.6% good enough? They have, last month they said it was going to be 10.5%. But is 9.6% enough? Should it be higher? Should the COLA still increase despite what happens with the inflation report? With this inflation report coming out, it could go down a lot more over the next few months until October, and then that would yield a lower COLA adjustment. But when it comes to the Inflation Reduction Act, will that have enough time to kick in and maybe bring down inflation even more? Although some are saying it's not even going to reduce inflation at all. For example, Republican Senator Tim Scott, take a look at what he has to say about that and why he doesn't think it's a good idea.
Tell us your rationale for saying no to this bill.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Number one, a bill named the Inflation Reduction Act that does not reduce inflation, according to the CBO, according to Bernie Sanders, according to myself, should tell everyone that first be very curious about what's actually in the bill. Number two, I would say that when you're going to spend $80 billion of the money raised for the IRS, which will make the IRS bigger than 4 major departments in the government, that's probably bad news for the average American. According to the Congressional Budget Office, 90% of the revenues generated by the IRS will come from people making under $200,000. The tax credits in the bill go to people making up to $300,000 plus. So people making under $200,000 will be paying for tax credits for people making over $300,000. That's the wrong direction for any piece of legislation. And you look at the actual tax increases. As a small business owner in a past life, so to speak, I can tell you that when your taxes go up, those are headwinds for wages increasing for your employees, as well as benefits getting better for those same employees. So this is bad news for our economy.
But let's go through a couple of these things. And I think there's no question, I think on this program, on this network, I think we've all decided that the Inflation Reduction Act, the name the proof will be in the pudding if the name turns out to be right. But that there are numbers that put that into question. But I would ask, there are things in this bill that would help some of your constituents. Medicare recipients with prescription drug coverage wouldn't have to pay about $2,000 annually for medications. That would be deflationary and would be a help to your own constituents, no?
Well, there's no doubt that when you cap expenses in some place, that's a good thing for those who receive it. You're going to actually increase expenses somewhere else because the $100 billion that it will cap out at is going to be paid for by a loss of research and development for our pharmaceutical companies, which means that you'll have to wait longer for new drugs to come to the market. But there's no doubt that for the person receiving the benefit, it's good news. The question is, what's the price of that good news? And we don't have that discussion very often, and certainly we have not had that discussion so far. One of the things I write about in my book, America, a Redemption Story, is the importance of understanding those living in poverty and what they face. When we have that conversation holistically, I think we're in better shape. When we just ask for something up front and not understand the long-term cost on the back end, sometimes we make bad decisions. That's one of the reasons why you hear so many alarm bells going off as it relates to the reconciliation package.
Senator, I want to talk to you about the IRS because you raised it. And you've been someone who's talked a lot about the importance of law and order and enforcing law and order. And the reason I ask or I raise it in that context is in the world of taxes in America, there has not been a lot of enforcement going on across the board. I mean, I think no matter how you look at it empirically, the IRS has been gutted. The chances of getting audited today are very slim. And as a result, we have a lot of people clearly cheating the system who should be paying in. And so rather than actually raising taxes, we, I think, arguably should be finding a way to enforce it. Why are you against that?
Andrew, I'm actually not against that, number one. I'll ask your viewers if they want the IRS coming searching through their accounts for more information about what they're doing.
Senator, nobody wants that, but at some point we have to enforce the laws. How do we do it?
This is your show, but at the end of the day, I'm going to finish my point. My point is simply this, that in fact, if you want the IRS coming to focus on small business owners, according to the CBO, 90% of the revenue generated by the new IRS agents, 87,000 of them, will be focused on people making $200,000 or less. Let's not pretend that this is something that it's not. What President Biden and the Democrats said this bill would do is focus on millionaires and billionaires. That is patently false, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. It's one of the reasons why, as you read through my book, America: A Redemption Story, I talk about the necessity of fairness. This bill will be negatively received and negative impacts on the poorest Americans, middle-income Americans. The job creators in our country will see headwinds that they do not have today, and that's already in an economy with 9% inflation and only a 5% wage growth, which means that you have less money in your pocket because of the government.
So, look, I think we all want fairness. The question is, if there's some people that are cheating the system, how would you otherwise enforce it? Is the issue the amount of money that's being given to the IRS? Would you give the IRS any new money?
Actually, when we were in the majority, we did give the IRS more money without any question. So the question is not whether or not the IRS needs more money. The question is, do they need 600% more money? And the answer is no. Anyone who suggests that the IRS needs an $80 billion increase to be able to do their jobs, they're just living in an alternate universe. And that's not something that the average person in our country believes to be the case. It's certainly not something that I would ever support. We need a government that is responsive to the needs of the citizenry, not one that attacks the American people with more resources and regulatory burdens placed on small businesses. It's one of the things that I find reprehensible about the current approach to finding the revenue generation necessary to pass, I guess, the climate part of their bill, because frankly, the inflation part of the bill was caused by more spending, and now they're going to spend more.
So what are your thoughts there? Do you agree, disagree? Is this Inflation Reduction Act a good thing, bad thing? Is it going to reduce the inflation? It doesn't really have too many things that's going to reduce inflation, at least in the short term, maybe over long term. But then how do you point to the Inflation Reduction Act as being the cause for it? So yeah, it's going to be hard to tell. But let's talk about stimulus news here. Exact date: direct payments of up to $300 will be sent out next month. Find out how much you're due. So this is going to taxpayers in the state of Illinois. So it seems like every day new types of stimulus checks are coming out. So these have been introduced as part of the Illinois Family Relief Plan and are designed to provide help to cash-strapped residents as they struggle to make ends meet. So basically, the way it works out, single tax filers will receive a rebate of $50, with joint filers will get $100, but families with dependents will get up to $300. And the checks are going to start to be sent out September 12th and could take up to 8 weeks to receive. So yeah, Illinois stimulus checks there should be going out September 12th. And yeah, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you one thing that you should do. When you want to do something, you have the power to do whatever you want. Unless, one thing, you believe in yourself. That's the only trick. So that's all I wanted to tell you for today. Bye. This is the Bella.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. If you like how I get straight to the point and give you the facts, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And if you want to check out any of my other videos on my other channels, you could click right up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.